What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Counter Punch podcast. And today we will be doing a full card predictions video for UFC Vegas 93 Taira versus Alex Perez. If you're new to these, my name is Lucas Cohen. His name, Rohan Borges. We had a fun UFC Louisville card last week. Main card was absolutely incredible. Main event, I went with Imavov. He went with Cannonier. He can argue that he kind of got screwed in that one.
Early stoppage, guys. Early stoppage.
I don't know, man. Imavov, I thought he was going to win the fight regardless. So, I wasn't furious about it. I also had a bunch of money on Imavov, so I wasn't mad about it whatsoever. But, UFC Vegas 93. This is actually a good Apex card.
Yeah,
it's a really good Apex card. I mean, you got Taira versus Alex Perez. For some reason, Alex Perez went from being the guy who has the most canceled fights in the history of the UFC, the guy who barely fights, to a guy who's now fighting 3 times in 3 months, which is absolutely insane. Taking on the young stud and Taira. You also have Ikram Alaskarov, was supposed to take on Andre Muniz. Now he's taking on Antonio Tricoli, so big step down in competition for him, but should be fun. Ikram Alaskarov, very good. Should be a fun showcase. And, a bunch of fun fights. Van Ulanbekov, looking forward to that one. You excited for this?
Yeah, I actually am excited for this card. There's a lot of, prospects on this card that have bright futures, in my opinion. Asu Amabayev is up there with some of those guys. Like you mentioned, Ikram Alaskarov, Tatsuro Taira's got a lot of potential. Josephine Knutson, even an undefeated fighter early on the prelims. I don't love the fact that the Van Ulanbekov fight is so far down the card. I thought that should have been, honestly, the co-main event. But that said, I really do like this card for the Apex. Again, I think there should be a lot of violence, a lot of finishes. So, yeah, I'm excited for sure.
All right, let's get into it. First fight on the card, we have Shailian Ndernbieke taking on Melquizael Costa. Yeah. It's an interesting fight. This is, I think Shailian has the wrestling advantage. It's just, is it good enough to hold Mel Costa down for all 3 rounds? I'm not sure. I look at the betting line for this fight. Mel Costa minus 200. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. I don't think Mel Costa should be minus 200 against anybody. But I think Shailian will have some success in this fight. I think the guy's big guy. He's got good wrestling. He's got good takedowns. It's just Melquizael has great kicks at range. He has great teeps. He has great, question mark kicks. And I think that'll be a problem for Shailian. But I think this will be a very, very close fight. I'm going to pick Costa because I think all the finishing potential is on his side. I do not see Shailian getting a finish in this fight. But if it hits the scorecards, this could go either way. It's control versus damage. So I'll pick Costa for now. But minus 200, never, ever, ever would I bet that on Melquizael Costa. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of see this one similar to you, I think, with the damage over control. I think Costa's just the better striker. He's faster. He uses all of his weapons. Like you said, uses those kicks. He's got great dexterity with his kicks. Goes to the body, goes to the head. He's tough to really get a read on from range. But again, Shailian will be looking to close the distance, land some takedowns. He is a powerful guy. He does hit somewhat hard, but I do agree that all the finishing potential is on Costa's side, just with that speed advantage. I think as long as he's able to keep this fight upright, for the most part, I think he should be good. Because again, Shailian, while he is a good wrestler, he's not like a fight finisher on the ground. He doesn't have those type of killer instincts. So I don't see him landing a finish in this fight. And I think if there is a finish, it definitely comes from Costa. So I pretty much see this the same as you. Wouldn't be betting on it, especially not at minus 200 for Costa. That's kind of crazy. But if I had to pick a winner, I'm definitely going to side with Melquizael Costa. Yeah, funny first name.
Very funny. Let's move on. Second fight on the card, we have Josephine Knutson taking on Julia Palastri. In no world, again, we're going to be talking about the betting line a lot this card. So there are a lot of big underdogs that I think are just kind of crazy. In no world should Knutson be a minus 250 in this fight. Minus 250 favorite. I think that's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But I do still think she wins. Again, here's the thing. I think the finishing potential is actually on the Palastri side. Barely. I don't see a finish in this fight whatsoever. I think this hits the scorecards. I think it's most likely a 30-27, maybe 29-28 in there for Knutson. Yeah, I think this one goes to the scorecards. I think Knutson's very, very talented. I feel like Palastri, she kind of has to weather a storm. I mean, you saw that in her contender series fight. I wouldn't call it weathering a storm, but she dropped that round 1, came back round 2, got the finish. I just feel like Knutson's more talented here, but again, against somebody who can get finishes in Palastri, Knutson should not be minus 250.
Yeah.
This is a fight I'll probably just completely stay away from. I think fight goes the distance is a good parlay piece. Sure. I think Palastri's better as the fight goes on. So I don't see Knudsen getting a finish unless she somehow knocks her out in round 1, which if she couldn't do that to Marnik Man, she's not going to do that to Pilastri. So yeah, I'll take Knudsen by decision, but once again, we'll probably stay away. Actually, now I'm kind of talking myself into a Knudsen decision bet. I'm curious what
I don't know,
what were you
man.
going to say?
I was just saying, I definitely agree with the point that you said about her slowing down, because the one thing about Pilastri is her volume. Like, she just unloads, especially as the fight develops. Like, when she starts to kind of settle into the fight, she can take a little second to make her reads or whatnot, if that's what you want to call it. But when she actually gets her feet underneath her, she starts to just throw with a lot of volume. And Knudsen, like you said, she's really talented. She's undefeated, and I think that's why this line is what it is. But she uses her kicks really well. That's the one thing I'll say about Knudsen. I like her size in this matchup. She does a really good job of using her teeps, like side kicks, just to keep the opponent away. I think those kind of techniques will work a lot earlier in the fight. But when it gets later, like if this kind of gets dragged out to the third round and both are starting to slow down a little bit, I could see Pilastri start to score a lot of damage, just because she's kind of got more dog in her than Knudsen, I'd say. And Knudsen really hasn't been tested either. Like, she only had one fight in the UFC, and she hasn't really been tested like that on the ground or on the feet. So there's a lot to learn about both fighters, and I'm not really confident in either side, like you said. So I'm going to give the slight edge to Knudsen just on talent, but I would not be shocked if, like, third round Pilastri would started to just march forward and land, because she's really tough. So yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, I do think it'll end up being like a 29-28 decision. I'll say it goes the Knudsen way, but I wouldn't be surprised if Pilastri gets the nod. Let's move on to, we had two of the worst fights in UFC history when I'm talking about, like overall level and overall skill. This one might be the worst UFC fight of all time. Jekka Sergey versus Weston Wilson.
Weston Wilson's crazy, man.
Weston Wilson sucks. He's really, really bad. This guy's gotten brutally knocked out in both of his fights in the UFC. I've known this guy was horrible. You look at that Brito fight. I had so much money on Brito inside the distance as a parlay piece. A parlay piece, that just shows. Inside the distance is a parlay piece. And he got absolutely wrecked, demolished.
Yeah.
But again, in no world should a guy who lost to Anshul Jubilee be minus 350 in the UFC against anybody. I do not care. I think this line's insane, to be honest. And I don't want to bet on Weston Wilson, but Jekka Sergey cannot win minutes if his life depended on it. This guy also gasses out after round 1.
Yeah.
He got finished by Anshul Jubilee. He didn't just lose, he got fucking finished and ground and pounded.
Yeah.
Jubilee is horrible, Rohan. He sucks. I don't know, man. I think all the finishing potential is probably on the Sergey side. But again, Weston Wilson's live for a late sub, I feel. Like, if Sergey gets tired...
That's his only path to victory in my eyes. Is a late sub.
Do I do it? Do I just say Weston Wilson? Should I just predict it?
Late sub. And hey,
because Sergey is not good. But he's probably going to knock him out.
That's the thing, right? Like, if like you said, first round or bust for him. If he steps on the gas and goes balls to the walls and catches this guy, he's going to put him out, because Weston Wilson is no chin. He's not durable at all. He's got no real skill to him other than on the ground, which is why if you're going to bet this fight, it's either knockout in the first round for Sergey or Wilson sub in the second or third. So it's pretty simple to bet if you're looking at it from that aspect. But me, as far as where I'm leaning, I think just Sergey catches him, because Weston Wilson, man, I mean, he has no head movement. He doesn't keep his hands up. He doesn't really look like he even knows what he's doing.
Bad.
He's just bad. He's not UFC caliber, if I'm being honest. But
I don't think
to
either.
Your point, neither. Yeah, I don't know if Sergey is either. So it's not a fun fight to call. But I do think that Sergey ends up catching him just because he's got real power, and Wilson, his chin is a real issue for him. I mean, he can't get around that. So
yeah, the problem about this fight is I just don't want to pick Sergey. I don't want to pick either fighter, to be honest.
I understand that.
I guess I'll pick Sergey by knockout, but minus 350. I mean, I'm actually considering gambling on Weston Wilson, which is scary, but I may do it. Let's move on. Next fight on the card, Gabriela Fernandez versus Carly Judice. We'll keep this one short and sweet. I think Fernandez gets it done. She's had 2 UFC fights so far, and she's fought 2 pretty solid nut huggers in Teresa Bleda and who is
Jasmine Jasdovicius.
Jasmine Jasdovicius. We know that she's legit.
Yeah.
Massive step down in competition, facing Carly Judice, who's 3-1, who I still feel is very green and somehow is in the UFC after losing her Contender Series fight. To give her credit, I thought she had a case to win that fight on the Contender Series. But Fernandez is very, very high level on the feet. I think Judice is still growing on the feet. I think Fernandez is also working on her takedown defense. So if Judice tries to mix in takedowns, I think Fernandez will be able to stuff her pop back up. I think Fernandez is a good parlay piece. I'll just give you how I'm feeling gambling-wise. I think minus 200, minus 210. I think she'll look minus 300. Again, low-level women's, you don't want to go too big on it, but I think Fernandez gets it done.
Yeah, really not much to add about this. I completely agree. I think Gabrielle Fernandez, she's going to be working on the takedown defense, but on the feet, it's one-way traffic. She is the better striker. She strings together meaningful, powerful combinations, unlike Giudice, who throws one strike at a time, a naked leg kick, a naked head kick, one jab here, one jab there.
Yep.
She's really not the complete fighter, and I just think Gabriella, she's really adapted to the UFC. She came from the LFA. When female fighters come from the LFA, in my eyes, that's just already a plus, because that just tells you that they have the striking background.
And some sort of experience as well.
Yeah, exactly. Carly Giudice, she has 8 fights total, amateur and pro, 8 fights. So I really don't see why you would pick her in this fight. I 100% agree. I'm rolling with Fernandez as well.
I'm not even going to say anything else. Let's move on. Next fight on the card. I'm actually really, really looking forward to this one. We have Garrett Armfield taking on Brady Heastand. I think this fight, Armfield's sitting at almost a -200 favorite. I feel like he should be max -130, -140. I think it's going to be a very, very close fight. And you know what? I may just outright pick the dog here in Heastand. I think this guy's literally the definition of a dog. He comes forward, he takes big shots, and he's just able to chain takedowns and just grind on you. Armfield, we've seen him from time to time struggle with those guys who are putting that relentless takedown pressure on you. He stands strong as well, man. He is a strong guy. He doesn't look like it, but he is strong, and he doesn't get tired either. We see round 3 finishes. We saw him finish Zanab Bakri in round 3 in his last fight. He's taken over a year off. I think he had like a knee injury, but again, at his age, only 25, I'm not mad at that. Garrett Armfield, I think he's solid. He's coming off 2 really good wins. Knocked out, what's that guy? Tokiyoshi Kazama. Knocked him out cold. Great win. And then I thought Katona beat him. It was a very close fight, but he had a close fight with Katona. I think Katona's not bad at all. It's just, this is a different stylistic matchup. I think Heastand's a grinder. I think this fight will be a close decision. I think on the feet, it's Armfield. I think with the grappling, it's Heastand. Literally the definition of striker versus wrestler. But I'm going to say Heastand gets the split decision. I think the value at +150, it's there all day, every day. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree that the value's on the Heastand side. I just can't get there, man. After watching both of these guys' tapes, Heastand on the feet, he's a weird style. He moves laterally more than he moves forward and back. He's a really confusing guy to get a read on because he's always moving side to side. But his striking itself is very unpolished. I think that Armfield will definitely be the better striker. He's much more comfortable boxing in the pocket. He's got better head movement. He's got better speed, better timing. He's just better on the feet all around. He's got faster kicks than Heastand. Heastand can't really throw kicks to save his life, especially not to the head. But like you said, he is durable and he will be able to win a war of attrition. But I was watching the Armfield and Katona fight, and just looking at that one specifically, Katona does a good job of setting up his takedowns with his hands. Heastand does not do that. So I think that if Armfield had some success defending against Brad Katona and actually won that fight unanimously, I think that Heastand on the feet, if he's just able to keep it standing enough of the time, he should be able to land more damage. I think.
You mean Armfield?
Armfield, sorry, yeah, Armfield. Both of these names kind of confusing for me, so I don't know why. But Heastand, I think, you're right, he's the better grappler. I just don't know if he'll be able to hold Armfield down for enough of the time and actually land damage on the ground. I think all the damage will be on the feet for Armfield all day, every day. So just based on that and the way the judges have been scoring fights recently, I'm a little more comfortable going Armfield. But I could definitely see a case where Heastand makes Armfield uncomfortable up against the cage with his weird style, lands a couple of takedowns, steals some rounds, and just wins a split decision. But I think that's a good bet. Split decision I actually like for this fight. Yeah, it's going to be close, but I'm going to side with Armfield. I just think he's a lot cleaner on the feet, and that's what it comes down to.
Well, the way I'd counter what you're saying is I feel like Heastand, he's a young guy. A lot of
25, that's right. He's 25
He's also
years
taken
old.
over a year off. We hope to see some improvements in that striking. And at the same time, the thing about Brad Katona is he's not the strongest guy, right? He's pretty small. He doesn't have the most physical strength. I do see what you're saying, though. There's a reason Armfield's almost -200. The guy's really clean in the feet. I did think it'll be a close fight, but I don't know who to pick, but I'm gonna stick with my guns. I'm gonna say Brady Heastand wins a decision. Let's move on. Next fight on the night. The fight before the featured prelim, it's Nate Maness versus Jimmy Flick. Another one where we're going to run through this, probably be a minute, 2 minute tops. I think Nate Maness destroys Jimmy Flick, probably finishes him by knockout in round 1. Jimmy Flick, whenever this guy gets hit, he just shells up. I think he'll crumble. I think Nate Maness if he just looks good on the scales, I mean, he's the parlay piece of he's the greatest parlay piece of all time. I mean, I've him parlayed in so many parlays. It's insane. Like he was minus 355 at one point against the guy in Jimmy Flick who just crumbles.
Yeah,
I still think minus 500.
Bro, I've seen some books have him at like minus 600 and shit. Like,
I don't even think that's crazy. I wouldn't even. I'd say minus 800 isn't even crazy. I think Maness runs through Jimmy Flick.
It's just the only thing I'll say. I 100% agree. It's just the one thing that we know the obvious route to victory for Flick is to get hurt, lure him into your guard, and catch him with some bullshit. Because Maness is really not the safest grappler. Like he's good enough to know what he's doing and avoid being put in completely vulnerable positions. But Flick is just, he nonstop. When he gets hurt on the ground, he will attack those submissions, attack your limbs, isolate your arms, try to go for triangles, try to go for arm bars. That's all he does. That's how he wins this fight. But again, on the feet, man, he gets bullied. Like, that's the only way I can put it. Jimmy Flick gets bullied in every physical exchange, whether it's striking or wrestling. He has no wrestling whatsoever. He can't, like, actually willingly take the fight to the ground. The only way the fight ends up in the ground is if he gets hurt, and he's the one pulling you into his guard. Like, he has no offensive wrestling. And then on the feet, I mean, like you said, he just shells up. He has no striking defense whatsoever, no head movement. Maness is going to be able to land a lot of power shots in this matchup on the feet, and he should get the job done. It's just minus 500 for somebody that's not, like, the most skilled fighter, a complete skilled fighter. Is a little scary, but yeah, I do not see Nate Maness.
But you almost saw Malcolm Gordon finish him.
Yeah, no, I know. Jimmy Flick, and he's coming out of retirement. Like, he's like almost 40 years old or some shit like that, too.
No, he's not.
Jimmy Flick?
No.
What is he?
Not almost 40.
Oh, no, he's 33. He's 33. All right, my bad. But regardless, he has not looked good. He came out of retirement. Since he's come back out of retirement, I mean, lost to Charles Johnson, did not look good. Lost to Alessandro Costa, did not look good. And then obviously, but Malcolm Gordon is one of the worst fighters on the roster. So there's nothing to be proud of in that. 14-8 overall. So yeah, I mean, we agree 100%. There's nothing more to add really for me. Maness should get the job done. Again, it's just the price tag at minus 500 is a little bit scary, but
I disagree. I think he'll look minus 10,000. I think he runs through Flick.
I mean, that's likely.
I think you could, if you're really that scared, you might as well just throw a little hedge bet.
I mean, the only path to victory,
right?
That's his only option is to submit him.
Flick by sub. Oh, plus 500.
Yeah,
you might as well bet the money. No, I'm staying away. You know what? I think Maness round one.
Yeah.
Plus money. I'm surprised that's even plus money, to be honest. I think he runs through Flick. Let's move on. Next fight in the card. Featured prelim. The people's main event. Tagir Ulanbekov taking on Joshua Van. Man, this... I want to say it's a tough fight to call, but again, Ulanbekov I think is really, really good. He looked really good in his last fight against Cody Durden. Just his control on the back is just absolutely special. His guillotines, they're so nasty. We saw him get, did he get Nate Maness? He did get Nate Maness with a guillotine. It was absolutely nasty. And then submitted Cody Durden in his last fight. Almost had him with that same guillotine in round one. Came back, submitted him, rear naked choke in round two against a guy in Cody Durden, who I think has some of the best submission defense in all of the UFC. I mean, he's really, really good with his sub defense. I think it's if Tagir can't get that sub in round one, which he is 100% live for, and early round two, I think he's live as well, just because he's so good at taking the back. But I do think Van could slowly grow into the fight. It's just this guy is so bad. He's incredible in the round two and the round three, but he's just not good in round one. Like, we saw him get dropped by Kevin Borges in round one. We saw him get, I wouldn't say dominated by Bunis in round one, but Bunis had a lot of moments in round one in their fight. Can you make those mistakes in round one against a guy that's so high level in Tagir Ulanbekov? I just don't know. I'm going to stick with my guns. I'll say Ulanbekov sub round one, but hey, that Joshua Van, as soon as that round one ends or that round two begins to, start, I think Josh Van is a good live bet. He'll probably be sitting at like plus 300 around there. I think that's solid, but I'll pick Ulanbekov for now.
Yeah, again, we see this fight pretty much the same. I think Josh Van, he doesn't look terrible in round one. It's just that, like, he's not as aggressive. He doesn't do good on the back foot. That's the one thing about him. Like, he needs to be the aggressor. When he's moving forward patiently, stalking his opponents, taking his time, picking his shots, he looks so good. And again, that usually starts to happen second, third round. So first round, I think it is going to be a little worrisome for Josh Van. And Tagir Ulanbekov, he's unpredictable with everything that he does. That's the one thing I think could give Van a lot of problems. On the feet, he's got a weird timing, a good rhythm to his stance. He kind of darts in with these weird shots. Doesn't check any leg kicks, though. That's the one thing I will say. But even his takedown attempts, his takedown entries, like, he will go for trips, these unorthodox pulls and grabs and stuff like that. Like, he finds different, unique ways to get the fight to the ground. So I could see, like you said, a first round submission if Josh Van is just completely overwhelmed. But this guy, man, I'm a Joshua Van fan. 22 years old. I think, no, now he's 23. But man, he's still 22. And October birthday. He's only improving, man. And he looks so technical on the feet. He mixes it up to the body so beautifully. He's got power. He's got speed. Everything that you would want from a young bantamweight or a young flyweight. And man, I just think all it comes down to is, can he survive that first round? Because I think second, third round, if he starts going to the well with the leg kicks, which I think will be his best weapon here, Tagir Ulanbekov does not check leg kicks whatsoever. And I think Van could slow the fight down and kind of make him a little more worrisome about the wrestling. And if he starts to grow in confidence as the fight goes on, I could definitely see Josh Van pulling away. It's a close-ass fight, man. I'm not confident in either side. But, man, I really like what I've seen from Josh Van and his ability to weather storms and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Josh Van. Not a lot of confidence, and I could definitely see where you're coming from with the Ulanbekov sub. But, man, I think round one, after that, it's all Van. So I'm gonna go with him.
You know, usually I'd go hard on countering you if I disagree with a fight. But I really can't, be that mad. I mean, I think Joshua Van is a future champion. I mean, 22,
that's the thing.
And he's this good.
Division is actually starting to get a lot of talent. I'm glad that even in the main event, Taira, undefeated flyweight.
And he's only 24.
24 years old.
But here's the thing. Is Van ready? Is he ready for this? Yeah. I just don't know. This is
It's a big step up. It's
a massive step up. I mean, he's going from Borges and Bunis.
Yeah. But Borges, honestly, in that fight, I was pretty impressed with the way, because Kevin Borges in that first round, and it was weird because Joshua Van was winning the first round until midway in the first round, and some switch flipped in Borja's head. He was like, all right, I'm not actually scared of this dude. I'm going to go forward now. And he put Van on the back foot, and then Van he lost all his wits about him. So I think the key for Ulanbekov is to keep that pressure up, keep the wrestling pressure up, and just relentlessly try to get this fight to the ground, because he probably will have success. Van is not the best wrestler at all. He gets taken down pretty much every fight. So, I see a lot of paths to victory. I see more paths to victory for Ulanbekov, obviously, with the submission live. But I do think Josh Van, he's nice, man. He's just so nice on the feet. Here's the
thing, man. We say this almost every episode. We hate doing MMA math, but I want to look at a common opponent. We were just talking about Kevin Borges, right? Mm. Josh Van and Alessandro Costa, I'd say, have pretty similar styles. They're like marauders. They go for the leg kicks. They have good hands. Yeah. I mean, Costa destroyed Borges. Mm. Destroyed him. Leg kicked the shit out of him, demolished him, finished him in round 2. Yes, Van was starting to dominate in that fight. When it got later, it's just he lost a round. He got dropped in that fight. Yeah. I don't know. And again, I hate doing MMA math, but... And again, it's completely different style here with Ulanbekov. Is Joshua Van ready for that step up? I'm just not sure. But I'm not mad at your prediction whatsoever. And I wouldn't say there's value at Van at plus 190, because I do think that Van will be plus 300, plus 350 when it gets live. But I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be an absolute banger. Sorry about the cut there. Let's move on to the first fight on the main card. We have got to do a little bit of scrolling. We have, oh my God, Adam Fugget versus Josh Quinlan. This fight sucks. Fugget sucks. Quinlan sucks. I'm literally going to give a 5-second breakdown. I'm sorry. With certain fights, I can't. We're not going to sit here and do a 10-minute breakdown about Fugget and Quinlan. Quinlan was good when he was on steroids. Now Quinlan sucks. Now he's off steroids. Look at that Danny Barlow fight. Danny Barlow broke his arm and still finished Josh Quinlan off the roids. This guy sucks.
That's crazy.
Quinlan sucks. Fugget also sucks. He got submitted by bum-ass Mike Malott in round 2. He finished Kinoshita. That was a solid look. But, I don't know. Close fight. I'm going to pick Fugget, though. I just think Quinlan off the roids is really, really bad. And I think Fugget off the roids has actually had a solid win against the Kinoshita. I'm sorry. Is that his name? Something like that. Finished him. Round 1. Looked good. Fugget. That's my pick. That's all I got to say.
No, I agree, man. I think Josh Quinlan, you've seen a clear difference between when he's on the steroids and off the steroids, which is crazy to say, but man is just not a good fighter when he doesn't have the juice. So I can't feel any confidence in him whatsoever. Both of these guys are very low volume. That's the one thing I will say. It could be a very boring decision that ends up happening in this fight. But I think Fugget has the physical advantage. He's a little taller, a little faster. I think later he'll look better, because Quinlan he looks horrible late because his cardio is probably cooked because he doesn't have steroids. So yeah, I agree. Fugget's going to be the pick, and he's like a slight underdog plus 105. I love that price.
Is he an underdog?
Yeah, he's an underdog.
Are you sure? I thought it was a slight favorite.
Nah, Quinlan seems to be the slight favorite.
Dog.
Yeah. So I like
be a
that.
bet,
I
Rohan.
like that.
Let's move on. Next fight on the card. This is a fight that the next two fights I'm actually really looking forward to talking about. Asu Amabayev taking on Jose Johnson. Now, I know when you saw, I'll just say it right now, guys. I'm going to say it right now. Do I say it right now? Do I just spoil the bet? Fuck it, I'll say it right now. I put money on Jose Johnson. I think this line's ridiculous. I really do. Jose Johnson is 6 foot, 71-inch reach, and he's going to be cutting down to flyweight for the first time ever. I don't know if he can do this. I don't know. The guy's massive. For flyweight, absolutely massive. Asu Amabayev is really, really good. I mean, this is a guy that's made me a lot of money. Both of his fights in the UFC, he's made me a shit ton of money. Mm-hmm. But minus 600 against the guy, and Jose Johnson, who I feel like there's a chance he comes in at like 130 pounds. He comes in overweight. I mean, this guy, how is he going to make this weight?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I think he can miss. I think I'd be surprised if he made the weight. I really would be. I think plus 400, plus 450 for Jose Johnson. This guy already has tremendous power at bantamweight. Flyweights aren't supposed to be getting hit by a guy like Jose Johnson, dude. This guy has power. What's going to happen if, yes, Asu's going to get at least one takedown in this fight, but what's going to happen if Jose Johnson catches one of those takedowns with the uppercut? He might just go out cold. I don't know. I think Asu could definitely submit him. I see violence in this fight. I like the under 2.5. I don't even know what the line is. I just think it finishes, but 6 foot. Jose Johnson's 6 foot. Asu is 5'4".
Yeah.
The face-offs. I've never been more excited for a face-off. That's what, 8-inch height discrepancy? I'm gonna pick the plus 450 dog. I'm gonna say Jose Johnson.
Oh, that's your official pick?
I'm gonna pick
Damn,
it. Jose Johnson's
okay.
gonna knock out Asu.
Wow. I mean, I can't really argue any of the points that you made because they're all pretty irrefutable. Like, he's got a huge height advantage. There's no escaping that. But even at bantamweight with I guess coming down from a weight division where you're gonna have a size advantage, the wrestling might be neutralized a little bit. But I think Almabayev is just so relentless on the ground. Like, he closes distance very well, even with the height advantage.
That's why I bet on him so many times, man.
Exactly.
He's a beast.
Yeah, I mean, look, guys, I just want to lay this out. Like, Lucas said what he said, but this, at the end of the day, he is still a minus 600 favorite. On some books, minus 650 for a reason. This guy is very, very talented. He's well-rounded. He's got good, decent hands, but he's way better on the ground, and that's where he shines. I mean, this guy, I think, what is it? His rear naked choke? He has, a lot of rear naked choke finishes. Yeah. 6.
Yeah, he had a nice finish against Ode Osborne.
Yeah. I mean, that's his go-to submission. And there's going to be opportunities, I think, even with the height advantage, the reach advantage, whatever. There's going to be opportunities for Amabayev to close distance, get inside, lock up the body, work his way to the ground, chain wrestle, get to the back, and ultimately finish this fight. I do see a lot of openings in Johnson's game, and he gets taken down quite a bit. Like, this guy has been submitted 4 times, actually. Not to the best guys. Like, again, Damon Blackshear got this guy in a twister.
That's not crazy. I disagree. I don't think that's crazy. I think Blackshear's
Blackshear's
really
good. I'm just saying, I think, even I can go, worse than that. I think, like these guys that, I don't know these guys, but, on the regional scene, Levy Moles is getting him in rear naked choke. The point is, Almabayev is going to have a lot of chances to do exactly what he loves to do, which is just keep that pressure on you, wear you down, tire you out against the cage, and get to your back and ultimately win this fight. So I am going to believe that he's going to be able to do that. I think Johnson's best chance is, like you said, just catching him on the way in because he's got that crazy reach. If he slides out and he's managing the distance to the best of his ability, I could definitely see him catching Almabayev. But the safe pick, I mean, there's no doubt about it that the safe pick in this fight has to be Almabayev. Yeah, man, it's just there's a lot of questions surrounding Jose Johnson and what he will look like coming down a whole weight class after. I mean, he's 6 foot, man. That's crazy for a flyweight. So, yeah. Because me and you go into the fights and actually meeting some of the fighters. Merab Dvalishvili, for example, this guy is a bantamweight. He's 5'5". He looks so freaking short. I'm 6 foot, so I can't even imagine Almabayev is 5'4". That height difference is gonna be actually crazy. So the knees are gonna be there. The uppercuts, like you said, all those shots on the weigh-in are gonna be there for Johnson. I just think Almabayev is a little too good on the ground. So if he does get him down, I don't think Johnson's gonna get back up very easily. So that's why I'm gonna pick Asu.
I don't like it when you talk about these regional fights that happened 6 years ago when this guy was 23 and talk about how he got submitted by a bum. Dude, fighters
But
can make fucking
Almabayev
improvements.
is not even. Almabayev is one of the best.
It doesn't matter. He was 23 when that fight happened.
But
He's 29 now. He's stepping into his prime.
okay, I'm not moving off my pick. Like, I'm very, very solid in this pick. Almabayev is going to win this fight. I'm very confident in that. I just think that the only chance Johnson has is because you're not. What are you trying to argue with me right now? Like, what are you even?
That you can't.
What are you trying to argue? That
you,
even if he gets taken down, what is he gonna do? Like, he's gonna consistently get back up. This guy, Jose Johnson's gonna consistently get back up. If Almabayev is taking him down, I don't think so.
But at flyweight, this guy's massive. What if he rehydrates?
You don't know what effect that weight could have on him. He could even tire out more.
I think he's gonna miss weight personally.
Yeah, but if he does miss weight, he could be looking at like as an advantage. He could be looking at that move as a strategic move to try to come in the fight with a little extra this and that. But he doesn't know how that will affect him. Maybe he tires. Maybe he slows down more than he usually does, and that affects him. Because Almabayev is pretty smart in his approach too. It's not like he goes rushing in at you and goes balls to the walls for the takedown. Like, he's pretty methodical in his approach. He takes his time, then he gets you down, and he slowly works his way to the back. So I think if he does get this fight down in every round, I don't think he's getting back up. I just don't think Johnson's going to get back up. So I don't think Almabayev has too much to worry about on the ground. It's only on the feet, and he's got to be worried about that length. But what else do you think he's working on right now? He's coming in there with a 8-inch disadvantage. So he knows that he's got to be aware of the length. So I think he'll find a way to work inside and win this fight.
And a 6-inch reach disadvantage as well.
Yeah.
These are massive discrepancies. But again, there's a reason why I have bet on Almabayev so many times. Mm-hmm. This guy has incredible control. He's a great grappler. It's just, will he be able to do it to Jose Johnson, who probably will miss weight? I don't know. I got to see the weigh-ins.
I agree.
Before I lay some serious juice on Johnson, I got to see the weigh-ins. But I'm going to stick by my guns. I'm going to pick Jose Johnson to win this fight, which is pretty crazy. But I'll say it gets it done. Let's move on. Next fight on the card, Miles Johns taking on Douglas Silva de Andrade. I've been looking at this matchup since it got announced like a month and a half ago, I believe. I really like Douglas Silva de Andrade, man. I think Miles Johns is a fraud. I really do. I mean, you look at his last 2 fights, right? In no contest against Dan Argueta. The guy was obviously roided out of his fucking mind. Clear as day. Then he fights Cody Gibson. Not only does Cody Gibson come in with the worst game plan ever, he's retarded. I don't know if that's going to get us, whatever. I'll censor it or whatever. And what else? He fought on like a torn knee. I think it was like a torn ACL or something.
Yeah.
Or like, it might have been 2. He definitely fought on at least 1 torn ACL. And Johns barely won that fight. I think that these shorter, stockier guys are a problem. I feel like Johns fights better against those taller, wrenchier guys. I feel like Douglas Silva Andrade, yes, he's 38, but this guy's a ball of athleticism. He's going to be able to match what Johns brings to the table. Not only that, Johns is not going to be able to take this guy down. Not going to happen. I don't think he gets 1 takedown. Silva de Andrade is so fucking explosive. And I feel like the power advantage is on the Silva de Andrade side. Another thing, the durability is on the Silva de Andrade side. Mm-hmm. By far, we've seen Johns get finished. When was the last time Douglas got finished? He's lost by knockout 1 time, and it was a corner stoppage against Peter Yan. I feel like all the finishing potential is on the Douglas Silva de Andrade side. I feel like if it goes a distance, it'll probably be close. But again, I feel like I just don't see Johns able to get his shots off, man. I'm confident. And I've got a big bet on Douglas Silva de Andrade. I don't know why this line's flipping.
Yeah.
I like him to win.
Dude, you called this like in the Discord weeks ago. And I was that was what, led me to do a little bit of research myself. Bro, I mean, I don't know why Miles Johns is favorite now. I like Andrade's only losses, like, I'm going to read them out. Saeed Nurmagomedov, no shame in that. Lerone Murphy, we just learned that he's actually a good prospect. Piotr Yan, Rob Font. These are like some of the best names in the division. Everybody else he's pretty much ran through. And Miles Johns, like you said, I mean, this guy, he falls in love with that overhand right. Like, when wrestlers can't really implement their wrestling the way they want to, they're like, all right, I need to speed up the process somehow. And then they just fall in love with that power shot, that power right hand. And that's all Miles Johns throws. Like, he has no combinations. He throws one big shot at a time, tries to work his way in with that, darting in footwork and stuff like that. I don't think that works, again, to your point, against Douglas Silva Andrade, who is the same size as him. He's not really taller, and Miles Johns is not really going to have to duck his head down and reach up to reach the target. Like, this is going to be pretty much eye level, man. You looking at me, I'm looking at you. And I think De Silva de Andrade is just, he's better, man. Like, he's tougher. He puts combinations together more. He can fight going backwards, where Miles Johns has no idea what he's doing on the back foot. I just think as long as this fight is on the feet and Miles Johns has no wrestling success whatsoever, because I think that is probably his best path to victory, because I don't think he's knocking this guy out. Even at 38 years old, I think he's very tough. So, yeah, I'm rocking with you, man. I think Douglas Silva de Andrade is going to win this fight. I think Miles Johns is just not good. I've never watched a Miles Johns fight and been impressed with what I've seen. So, yeah, I got it.
I mean, I just want to highlight the durability of this guy, Douglas Silva de Andrade. I mean, that fight against Sergey Morozov, Sergey Morozov's a guy that I don't think is bad at all. I think he's actually pretty good. Morozov dominated round 1, almost had him out of there. Douglas Silva survived and finished him by submission in round 2. That was a very, very impressive win for me. Again, if it hits the scorecards, I do think it is fairly close, but all the finishing potential here is on the Douglas side. And even if it hits the cards, I'm going to give it to him. I feel like he'll just be able to match that athleticism of Johns, and even at 38, maybe even be more athletic and just be more explosive overall. I'm going to pick him to win, and I'm sticking with that. Let's move on to the next fight on the card. Is it the Kwamba fight? I believe it is,
Timmy
right?
Kwamba versus Lucas Almeida.
Yeah, this is an interesting fight. We've talked about the last 2 fights for a good amount of time. This one we'll keep it a little shorter. Kwamba should win, but again, this is another fight in which, what the fuck is this line? Why is he minus 200?
Why is this fight so high up the card, bro?
doesn't
This
make
should be opening this whole card, bro.
This fight should at least switch with the Tagir.
Yeah,
Tagir
bro.
fight.
Oh my
Here's the thing.
God.
I think Kwamba's good. I'm gonna pick him to win a very, very close split decision, but he shouldn't be minus 200. I mean, Almeida's had a very, very close fight with Daniel Zellhuber on the Contender Series. This guy's knocked out Michael Trizano. I mean, this guy's not bad at all, Lucas Almeida. I think he's pretty good. You know, he got submitted by Pat Sabatini. I wouldn't say there's any shame in that. The only reason why I'm probably scared away from betting his money line is that loss against Andre Fili, where he just got starched out cold.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think it's going to be a very, very close fight. I do feel like the finishing potential is on the Almeida side. I think he's got a lot of power. We don't know how good Timmy Kwamba is. Are we judging him highly off of a close loss to Balaji Oki? I don't know. I'm going to pick Kwamba to win a split decision. But again, money line value all over Lucas Almeida here.
Yeah, I agree. I think, Kwamba being 25 years old, he took that fight on like 7 days notice and took Oki to split decision. So there's no shame in that loss. We really don't know a lot about Tommy Kwamba. So that's why Timmy Kwamba. This fight is just not that interesting to me. I think both of these guys are there's a lot for them to prove. I think Almeida, like, every time he's taken a step up in competition, we've seen him kind of get dealt with pretty handily. Like, on the ground, he's got a lot to work with. He can get kind of manhandled in the clinch. I think that Kwamba might be the better athlete in this fight. While the power might be on Almeida's side, I think that Kwamba's just a little more put together on the feet. I don't know, man. It's tough for me to call. Again, there's so much to learn about both of these fighters, so it's hard for me to really make a confident prediction. But I'm going to say, with the age and just the size and overall ability on Kwamba's side, I'm gonna side with him. But I wouldn't be shocked. Again, there is value on Almeida just because he's more experienced. He's been in there with some tough competition. So yeah, if he can keep it standing and land his powerful shots, he could definitely score a finish. But I'm gonna side with Kwamba as well.
Simple as that. Let's move on. Co-main event. Don't know why this fight's happening. Ikram Aliskerov versus Antonio Tricoli. Aliskerov was supposed to fight Andre Muniz here. Pulled out. Tricoli stepping in on a week and a half notice. Yeah, I got to pick Aliskerov. We know absolutely nothing about Tricoli. Had a win in the Contender Series. Got overturned because he popped for steroids. Is he on steroids still? Doubt it. With, this whole drug testing shit. Got caught pretty easily last time. Don't think he's still on it. I don't know. I don't know enough about this guy. I know all about Aliskerov. We know this guy's a stud. I think he finishes Tricoli in round 2.
Yeah, this is the equivalent of like the zookeeper throwing a piece of meat to the lions or something. Like, I'm telling you, bro, Tricoli is just like a sacrificial lamb in this spot. Ikram Aliskerov has every advantage. He's going to finish this fight. It's just a matter of when he does it. I think round 1 is live. I think round 2 is live. But yeah, I think it's early.
If Tricoli shows up on the roids, it'll probably be
round 2, if he's roided up, hey, it's a completely different story. And that line
see.
might be looking, crazy in a second. But nah, I mean, this guy's minus 1,200 for a fucking reason. He's come from Dagestan, but like, I love those fighters that come from Dagestan, but they don't like need to wrestle. They can strike with you too, like Saeed, fucking Islam, Ikram. Like, these guys can fucking
coming off a flying knee knockout, man.
Yeah, I mean, this guy has everything you would want. He's like, yeah, he's scary in that middleweight division for sure. Tricoli, we have no idea. So yeah,
I was hoping you stopped talking like 25 seconds ago so we could break the record for the shortest breakdown.
Yeah, it should be. My bad. I ruined it.
It
should have been the bridge.
It's all good. Aliskerov's going to destroy this guy. Main event. This one's going to be fun. Alex Perez taking on Tatsuro Taira. Why am I saying that in a Spanish accent? I don't know. Tatsuro Taira.
Taira. Hey, man.
He's Asian, by the way.
Yeah. My mom actually was, she grew up in Japan. So she and my brother's big into anime and stuff. So I kind of hear that accent a lot of the time. But yeah, Tatsuro Taira. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah, I have no Japanese connection whatsoever. Yeah, let's move on. We're already here. Perez Taira. I think he wins. I think he submits Perez. I think this guy is special. I said this in a short video 2 weeks ago. I think Taira could beat Pantoja right now. Do you agree?
You did say that. I remember you saying. I think he could, because that division is so shallow, and the lower guys in the top 15, I think they're very, very talented. Like, you look at a guy like where's Makayev right now in the rankings, because he's higher up after he beat Perez, right? But I think he's still a little
5 or 6
raw,
maybe.
But he's got a lot of potential. Taira's got a lot of potential. Josh Van and Tagir, who are fighting on this card, both have a lot of potential. And then at the top we got Pantoja, and then there's the division's starting to get a little bit of.
But I think Taira specifically is very, very special.
No, I agree with that. And I've seen a lot of people when I've watched a lot of different breakdowns for this fight. Done a lot of my own research. And me personally, I'm on your side. I think that this line should be a little bigger in favor of Taira. I think he's
Agreed.
Way better than Perez on the feet. The only thing Perez has in his advantage is the power. Is like the
Does he?
But that's the thing. That's the thing. Why? I don't even agree with that. I think that Perez, he might hit harder, and Taira's had some moments. Like, I think the fight against, who did he get dropped by? People are like, oh my God, he got dropped by Edgar Chairez, right? He got dropped by Edgar Chairez for 1 second, came back and destroyed him the rest of the fight. Like, guy, just because he got knocked out a few times does not mean his durability is cooked or anything like that. And Perez, other than that Nicolau knockout, which was Nicolau was running away from him at the time because he had already gotten clipped by another shot. Like, that wasn't the most impressive knockout. Like, yeah, it was a knockout, but it doesn't mean, Alex Perez has this crazy power. He's a flyweight at the end of the day, and this guy is very basic in the way he fights. Like, he's got decent takedown defense. He shells up on the feet. He really keeps his hands high. He doesn't throw a lot of crazy techniques. He really sticks to his 1s and 2s, his simple boxing. Doesn't even throw a lot of kicks. I think that Tatsuro Taira is way more well-versed on the feet, way more versatile. He'll be able to pressure, fight going forwards and backwards. And then on the ground, it is one-way traffic. What can Perez do to stop Taira from doing what he does to everybody on the ground, which is just chain wrestle and work his way into dominant positions? And just, as the fight grows, I think his confidence is only going to get higher. And I think Perez only has a puncher's chance in this fight. I don't know why the line is as close as it is.
Not only do I think Tatsuro Taira is special, I think he's very, very special and that he could beat Pantoja today. I truly believe that. But I think he should be a much bigger favorite because I feel like Perez is being significantly overrated based off his last 2 fights. People are saying that this guy's got incredible takedown defense all of a sudden because of this fight against Makayev. Incredible takedown defense and great get-up game because he was able to, make it a very close fight with Makayev. But at the same time, Makayev does not set up his takedowns whatsoever.
Yeah.
Look at that. That was an embarrassing fight.
It was hard to watch.
He'd sit down once he couldn't get the takedown. It was embarrassing. And then people say Perez has power. Mateus Nicolau is one of the chinniest fighters in flyweight right now. Here's the thing with Taira, man. He's going to set up those takedowns with these punches. We know he has KO power now. Look at that last fight against Carlos Hernandez. Looked incredible. I think he's going to look at least minus 300 in this fight. And I think he'll probably find a submission. I like Taira. I like Taira within the first 4 rounds. Within 4 rounds. Can't say the first 4. Within 4 rounds, I'd say he gets it done within the first 3. I think this guy's really, really special. Got knockout power. Incredible submissions as well. I'm going to pick him to win. Any other words?
Yeah, I will say that, look, it is a big step up for Taira. He hasn't faced anybody on Perez's level, and especially with the takedown defense that Perez has. So I could see the earlier rounds being a little more of a feeling out process. Maybe he doesn't have the same success getting the fight to the ground that he has in past fights. But I think as this fight develops, Perez gets tired very quickly. Taira doesn't do too much to lose a lot of energy. He's very conservative for the most part. I think that later in the fight, I think 3rd, 4th round, that's where we're going to really start to see the separation. And yeah, I think submission, 3rd round, 4th round, I'm definitely leaning that towards Tatsuro Taira. He is so talented. And once he gets the fight to the ground, he is just smothering with the pressure that he keeps on you. He does not give you any breathing room. And Perez has not shown me anything to think that he's going to be able to consistently get back up. So I think Tatsuro Taira by submission is going to be my pick for sure.
Folks, that's all we got for you today. Really looking forward to this card. As I mentioned at the top, it's actually a fun Apex card, which are words I rarely say. Any final words for the people?
Hey, man, just enjoy. It's going to be some violence, hopefully. And, yeah, man, stay tuned. A lot coming this week. More content, more breakdowns, more YouTube videos, shorts. Just be on the lookout for all that, yeah.
Discord server right now.
Yes, sir.
What's our deal right now? I think we're like 30% off. So if you want to get on that, we won't have a free trial for another few weeks. We've been killing it, man. We've won like 4 out of our 5 last cards. We're up like over 20 units.
Yeah, we're killing it this year, guys. I can't even lie. Like, we are actually killing it this year.
Killing the fucking game. There's so much content in our Discord server. It's absolutely insane. So if you want the best MMA, not only betting group, but just the best MMA community in the world.
Yeah, community, man. We're building a community. Like-minded people that really just love the sport, man. That's what we're here for. And, yeah, just stick with us because we're only going up.
Damn right. The link in the description if you want the discount there. You can also get all of our socials, links in the description. We also hit 10K.
Oh, yeah, shit. We didn't even mention
Instagram.
That. Yeah. Hop on the train. 10K, 20K, 30K, man. It's going to be a fast track, man. I'm telling you, it's only going up. Hop on now. Just stick with us because, yeah, man, we work for you guys. That's all. We want to give you guys the best content, the best breakdowns, just keep you entertained. So, yeah, stick with us.
Anything you want from us, you can find it in the description of this video. Signing off. It's been Lucas and Rohan.
Peace.
Adios.